The crimson rings of Jupiter cast long shadows across the research station Odyssey when humanity received its first message from the stars. Dr. Sarah Chen stood frozen at her console, coffee cup halfway to her lips, as the signal patterns resolved into clear, deliberate sequences. After decades of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, the cosmos had finally answered back. Within hours, the message had been decoded: a greeting, coordinates, and a time. The Centauri Collective was coming to meet humanity, and they weren't bothering to ask permission. 3 days later, Commander David Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the UES Sentinel as a massive vessel materialized at the edge of Earth's atmosphere. The ship defied conventional physics, its surface rippling like liquid mercury, while maintaining perfect structural integrity. As Earth's most decorated Space Force officer, Rodriguez had been chosen to lead the first contact team. "Their tech is at least several centuries ahead of ours," Lieutenant Kira Patel whispered, her hands dancing across the sensor array. "The energy readings are off the charts." The alien vessel deployed what appeared to be a diplomatic shuttle, its sleek form descending through Earth's atmosphere with impossible grace. The landing site had been prepared at the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva, where representatives from every nation waited with a mixture of hope and trepidation. When the shuttle's doors opened, the assembled crowd gasped. The Centauri emerged, towering beings of crystalline structure, their bodies refracting light in hypnotic patterns. Their leader, who introduced itself as Override Prime Nexus, stood nearly 3 meters tall. "We bring greetings from the Centauri Collective." The alien's words resonated directly in everyone's minds. "We have watched your species' development with great interest. You stand at a crossroads, and we are here to offer you elevation." What followed was not the message of peace and cooperation humanity had dreamed of. The Centauri Collective, it seemed, was less interested in cultural exchange than in absorption. Their empire spanned thousands of star systems, all operating under strict hierarchical control. Earth was being offered a choice: join the collective and submit to their guidance, or be designated as a threat to galactic stability. "Your species shows concerning signs of unpredictability," Nexus continued. "Your technological development follows chaotic patterns. Your social structures lack proper hierarchical optimization. This must be corrected." Dr. Chen, who had been invited to the meeting as Earth's leading xenolinguist, noticed something in the Centauri's mental projections, a flicker of something that felt like fear. These beings, for all their advanced technology, were disturbed by humanity's capacity for rapid, unpredictable innovation. The collective's demands were comprehensive. Earth would need to restructure its governments according to Centauri protocols, submit to neural standardization of its population, and hand over control of all military and research facilities. In return, humanity would receive access to advanced technology and protection within the collective. The United Earth Council took 3 days to deliberate. 3 days of heated debates, of scientists analyzing Centauri technology, of military strategists assessing options. But in the end, the decision was unanimous. "We appreciate the collective's offer," Council President Isabel Santos addressed the Centauri delegation, her voice steady and clear. "However, humanity must decline. We choose to retain our independence and our right to self-determination." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees as Nexus processed this response. "You misunderstand." The alien's mental voice had taken on a sharp edge. "This is not a negotiation. Resistance will only bring suffering to your species." What happened next would be remembered as the moment humanity showed its true nature. President Santos stood from her chair, walked directly up to the towering crystalline being, and spoke words that would echo through history. "Then we will suffer, we will endure, and we will prove that humanity's chaos, our unpredictability, our refusal to submit, these are not our weaknesses. They are our greatest strengths." As the Centauri delegation departed, Commander Rodriguez noticed their movements seemed less fluid, less certain. They had expected submission, and instead encountered defiance. Their perfectly ordered worldview had just been challenged by a species they had assumed would be easy to dominate. In orbit, Dr. Chen made a crucial discovery. Hidden within the Centauri's message patterns were signs of rigid, predictable thinking. Patterns that suggested their entire civilization operated on strictly defined protocols. It was their greatest strength, but it might also prove to be their greatest vulnerability. The war for Earth's independence was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weapons would not be found in its arsenals, but in its capacity for innovation, its stubborn resilience, and its fundamental unpredictability. As the massive Centauri ship disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Earth began its preparations. They had chosen chaos over submission, freedom over security, and the next few months would test whether humanity had made the right choice. The discovery came from an unlikely source. Dr. Maya Patel, a quantum consciousness researcher at the Bangalore Institute of Advanced Studies, had been studying the neural recordings from humanity's first contact with the Centauri. What she found would change everything. Beneath the surface of their imposing crystalline forms and advanced technology, the Centauri possessed a fundamental weakness. Their hive-mind consciousness made them incapable of true individual thought. Every decision, every action, had to process through their collective neural network. It made them powerful but predictable. "Look at these neural patterns," Maya explained to the hastily assembled Earth Defense Council. Holographic displays showed the intricate dance of Centauri thought processes alongside human brain activity. Where our minds create unique individual patterns, theirs move in perfect synchronization. They literally cannot think outside their established protocols. Commander Rodriguez leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "You're saying their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness?" "Exactly," Maya nodded. "Their technology, their entire civilization, is built on perfect order. But it makes them vulnerable to something humans excel at: chaos and adaptation." In orbit, the UES Sentinel had been retrofitted with experimental quantum sensors designed by Dr. Chen's team. They had discovered that the Centauri's faster-than-light technology left distinctive ripples in space-time, ripples that could be detected and potentially disrupted. The first test of humanity's advantage came sooner than expected. A Centauri scout fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system, likely expecting to find a civilization cowering in fear. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented. Earth had transformed its orbital defense platforms into what appeared to be a chaotic mess of conflicting signals and random energy patterns. To the Centauri's rigidly ordered minds, it was like trying to read static. Their attempts to scan Earth's defenses returned contradictory data, causing confusion in their collective consciousness. "They're faltering," Lieutenant Kira Patel reported from her station on the Sentinel. "Their formation is breaking down." The Centauri ships, used to operating with perfect synchronization, were struggling to coordinate their actions in the face of such apparent disorder. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Chen had made another breakthrough. The Centauri's mental communications relied on quantum entanglement, but their rigid thinking made the patterns predictable. With enough processing power, these patterns could be not just decoded, but potentially disrupted. "It's like they're all reading from the same script," Chen explained to her team. "If we can introduce enough variations into their quantum field, we might be able to create the equivalent of mental static." The first real battle for Earth's independence wasn't fought with weapons, but with waves of carefully calculated quantum interference. As the Centauri fleet attempted to establish a blockade, Earth's defense platforms began broadcasting precisely tuned frequencies designed to interact with their hive-mind communication. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfectly coordinated Centauri ships began to move erratically, their crews struggling to maintain collective coherence in the face of the quantum disruption. It was like introducing a virus into a computer network, except this virus targeted the very foundation of Centauri consciousness. "They're retreating," Commander Rodriguez announced, watching as the alien fleet withdrew in disarray. "But they'll be back, and next time they'll be prepared for this tactic." Maya's team was already working on the next phase. They had discovered that human creativity, The very chaos the Centauri feared could be weaponized. Each human mind generated unique quantum patterns, patterns that could be amplified and projected. The more unpredictable the thoughts, the more disruptive the effect on Centauri systems. We need to think bigger, Maya told the Defense Council. What if we could turn every human mind into a quantum transmitter, create a planet-wide network of unpredictability that would make Earth itself toxic to their hive mind? The project was codenamed Mindstorm. Around the world, quantum amplification stations were constructed, designed to harness and project the natural chaos of human consciousness. Artists, musicians, and dreamers were found to generate particularly potent disruption patterns. The very aspects of humanity that the Centauri had deemed flaws were becoming Earth's strongest defense. But time was running out. Long-range sensors detected a massive Centauri fleet assembling at the edge of the solar system. This wouldn't be a scouting mission. It was an invasion force. The real test of humanity's hidden advantage was about to begin. As Earth prepared for the coming battle, Dr. Chen made one final, crucial observation. The Centauri's retreat hadn't just been tactical. There had been something else in their quantum signatures, something that felt remarkably like fear. The species that had sought to impose order on humanity was beginning to fear the very chaos they had condemned. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of consciousness itself in the galaxy. Humanity's greatest weapon would not be found in their arsenals or their technology, but in the very nature of their minds, unique, unpredictable, and gloriously chaotic. The Centauri invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace like a constellation of artificial stars, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight across the void. 5,000 vessels strong, it was the largest military force Earth had ever witnessed. But humanity was ready with a plan so unconventional it bordered on insanity. Operation Starburst began not with a bang, but with a symphony. Across the globe, quantum amplification stations hummed to life, broadcasting the combined consciousness of Earth's greatest creative minds. Musicians performed impossibly complex improvisations, artists poured their imaginations onto digital canvases, and writers spun tales that had never been told before. Each unique thought pattern rippled through space, creating a tapestry of chaos that the Centauri hive mind couldn't process. Commander Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Sentinel, watching the tactical display as the enemy fleet approached. "Begin Phase 1, he ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Dr. Maya Patel's voice crackled over the comm from her station in Bangalore. "Quantum network is at full power. Mental static field extending to lunar orbit." The effect on the Centauri fleet was subtle at first. Their perfectly synchronized movements began to show tiny irregularities, like a masterful dance falling slightly out of step. But these small disruptions cascaded through their hive mind, creating confusion that grew with each passing moment. "They're trying to adapt," Lieutenant Kira Patel reported, her fingers dancing across her console. "Their quantum signatures are shifting, attempting to establish new synchronization patterns." This was the moment Earth had been waiting for. Hidden throughout the solar system, thousands of small automated drones activated. These weren't weapons. They were broadcasting stations, each programmed with a different piece of human art, music, or literature. The drones darted between the Centauri ships, flooding their neural networks with an overwhelming surge of human creativity. The invasion fleet's formation began to break apart. Some ships accelerated randomly. Others drifted off course, their crews struggling to maintain collective coherence in the face of the quantum cacophony. But the Centauri weren't the most powerful civilization in the galaxy for nothing. Their flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed all others, began emitting a counter-frequency, attempting to stabilize their neural network. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the chaos on the command channel. "They're adapting faster than we anticipated. Implementing Phase 2. Phase 2 was even more audacious than the first. Around the world, millions of humans had volunteered to connect to the quantum network, adding their own thoughts and dreams to the mental static field. The combined power of billions of individual minds thinking, creating, and imagining created a psychic tsunami that crashed against the Centauri's mental defenses. The effect was devastating. The crystalline ships began to resonate with discordant frequencies, their very structure affected by the chaos of human consciousness. Cracks appeared in their perfect formations, both physical and mental. But victory came at a cost. The strain of channeling so much mental energy was taking its toll on Earth's population. Reports flooded in of headaches, nosebleeds, and in some cases, complete exhaustion. "We can't maintain this level of broadcast," Maya warned, her voice strained. "The human mind isn't meant to be weaponized like this." Rodriguez made a quick decision. Focus all remaining power on their flagship. If we can disrupt their central command, the rest of the fleet will lose coherence. The gamble paid off. The massive Centauri flagship, unable to process the overwhelming flood of human consciousness, began to emit erratic energy pulses. Its crystalline structure vibrated with increasing intensity until, in a spectacular display, the ship's external layer shattered like broken glass. What happened next would be debated by historians for centuries. The flagship's crew, their hive-mind connection suddenly severed, experienced individual consciousness for the first time. The shock rippled through the entire Centauri fleet, breaking their collective neural network into thousands of separate minds. The invasion force fell into chaos, real chaos, not the calculated disorder of Earth's defense. Ships collided, weapons fired randomly, and communication broke down completely. Within hours, the mighty Centauri fleet had been reduced to a scattered collection of confused vessels. But it was what happened next that truly changed the course of the war. From the disabled flagship, Earth received a transmission unlike any previous Centauri communication. It wasn't the usual perfect, synchronized thoughts, but something messy, emotional, and unmistakably individual. "I understand now," the message began. "The gift you have given us, the curse of individuality, it cannot be undone." As the dust settled, Earth faced a new challenge. They hadn't just defeated an invasion force, they had fundamentally altered the consciousness of an entire civilization. The Centauri survivors, experiencing individual thought for the first time in their species' history, were both terrified and fascinated by their new state of being. Dr. Chen, monitoring the quantum communications, detected something unprecedented in the Centauri transmissions: creativity. The newly individualized aliens were beginning to generate their own unique thought patterns, adding their voices to the cosmic symphony of consciousness. Operation Starburst had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Earth had defended itself not by destroying its enemy, but by fundamentally transforming them. The next phase of the conflict would not be fought with weapons or mental static, but with ideas, and humanity was about to discover that teaching an ancient civilization about individuality would be its greatest challenge yet. The aftermath of Operation Starburst created a crisis unprecedented in galactic history. The Centauri Collective, once a model of perfect order, had fractured into competing factions. Some embraced their newfound individuality, while others desperately tried to restore their hive-mind connection. But humanity's greatest challenge lay in what they discovered next. Deep within the captured flagship's quantum databases, Dr. Chen found something disturbing. The Centauri weren't the true rulers of their empire. They were enforcers for an even more ancient and powerful species known only as the Architects. The Architects created the Centauri hive mind. Chen explained to the Earth Defense Council. They've been using them to impose order across the galaxy for millennia. And now they're coming to contain the chaos we've unleashed. Long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures at the edge of known space. The Architects were mobilizing their forces. Earth had months, perhaps weeks, before they arrived. Commander Rodriguez proposed a daring plan. "We don't need to fight them directly," he argued. "We need to use their own system against them." The plan was audacious. Using the quantum communication technology salvaged from Centauri ships, Earth began broadcasting false intelligence reports throughout the galaxy. These transmissions suggested that humanity had discovered a way to weaponize chaos itself, capable of unraveling the very fabric of space-time. Dr. Maya Patel's team worked around the clock, creating elaborate quantum illusions that made Earth's defenses appear both incomprehensible and terrifying to any organized consciousness. They amplified the natural background chaos of human society, making it seem like Earth was surrounded by a field of pure entropy. The deception went deeper. Lieutenant Kira Patel, working with a group of freed Centauri, began seeding rumors throughout the Empire. Stories spread of human consciousness being contagious, capable of breaking any hive mind it encountered. The truth about Operation Starburst was carefully mixed with exaggerated tales of human psychic powers. The Architect's greatest weapon is fear of chaos, Kira explained. So let's give them chaos to fear. The strategy worked better than anyone expected. The Architects, creatures of pure order, found themselves unable to properly analyze the threat Earth posed. Their every attempt to understand human civilization was met with contradictory information and impossible data. But the real masterpiece of the deception came from an unexpected source. The freed Centauri, experiencing creativity for the first time, began creating art that depicted humans as godlike beings of chaos. These works spread through the Empire, inspiring both terror and fascination. Meanwhile, Earth's scientists made a genuine breakthrough. Dr. Chen discovered that the Architect's power stemmed from their ability to manipulate the fundamental constants of the universe, but this power worked only in conditions of perfect order. They're not gods, Chen announced to the Council. They're prisoners of their own perfection. The more chaos exists in a system, the less control they have over it. This revelation led to the final phase of the Great Deception. Earth began broadcasting quantum signals that appeared to show humans learning to manipulate chaos itself. The signals suggested that humanity was on the verge of achieving what the Architects would consider impossible, controlled disorder. The effect on the Architect fleet was immediate. Their perfectly ordered formations halted at the edge of the solar system, unable to advance into what their sensors told them was a zone of pure chaos. The deception had worked almost too well. Across the galaxy, other species under Architect control began to question the natural order. If humans could master chaos, perhaps perfect order wasn't the only path to advancement. But victory came with a price. The constant broadcasting of false signals and maintenance of quantum illusions drained Earth's resources. More concerning were the reports of some humans beginning to manifest real abilities to influence probability and disorder, as if the lie was becoming truth. Dr. Maya Patel theorized that human consciousness was evolving in response to the quantum technologies they were using. We're changing, she warned the Council. The question is, are we becoming something more than human, or something else entirely? As the Architect fleet remained frozen in indecision, Earth faced a new dilemma. They had successfully defended themselves by making their enemy fear a power they didn't actually possess. But what if that power was becoming real? What if the greatest deception wasn't what they were showing the Architects, but what they were hiding from themselves? The next phase of the conflict would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the very nature of reality in the galaxy. The line between order and chaos, between truth and deception, was beginning to blur. And in the quantum static between these extremes, something new was being born. The transformation began subtly at first. Throughout human settlements across the solar system, people reported strange occurrences, probability-defying events, moments of spontaneous creation, and flashes of impossible insight. The quantum deception designed to fool the Architects had awakened something dormant within human consciousness. Dr. Maya Patel's research facility in Bangalore had become the epicenter of these changes. We're not just manipulating quantum fields anymore, she explained to a stunned Earth Defense Council. We're evolving to perceive and interact with them naturally. The lie we told the Architects is becoming truth. Commander Rodriguez, watching from the bridge of the UES Sentinel, observed the strange distortions now visible in space around Earth, ripples of possibility that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. How long before the Architects realize what's really happening? The answer came sooner than expected. The Architect fleet, which had held position at the edge of the solar system for months, suddenly began to move. But instead of the attack everyone feared, a single vessel approached Earth, smaller than the others, but radiating an energy that made the quantum sensors overload. Inside the crystalline ship was a being unlike anything humanity had encountered. The architect emissary appeared as a shifting geometric pattern, its form barely contained within three-dimensional space. Its thoughts, when they came, resonated at a frequency that made reality itself vibrate. "You have done what we thought impossible," the architect communicated. "You have made chaos predictable." Dr. Chen, studying the quantum readings from the encounter, made a startling discovery. The architects weren't angry. They were fascinated. For beings that had spent eons imposing perfect order on the galaxy, humanity represented something entirely new, controlled evolution through chaos. But the architect's arrival triggered an unexpected reaction. The quantum field generators around Earth, responding to the collective consciousness of humanity, began to pulse with new patterns. Reality itself seemed to flex and bend as human minds, now awakened to their true potential, instinctively reached out to reshape the fabric of space-time. This was their true fear, Lieutenant Kurapatel realized, watching the energy readings spike. Not that we would resist their order, but that we would master chaos itself. The architect emissary's form flickered as it processed this development. "Your species has forced us to confront an uncomfortable truth," it communicated. "Perfect order leads to stagnation. The galaxy requires balance." What followed was not a negotiation, but a transformation. The architect shared knowledge that redefined humanity's understanding of reality. The universe, it explained, existed in a constant dance between order and chaos. The architects had tried to force it toward perfect order, while humanity's gift was embracing and directing chaos. Dr. Maya Patel worked with the architect to understand these new principles. Together, they developed a framework for a new kind of civilization, one that could harness both order and chaos, structure and creativity. The freed Centauri, already experiencing individual consciousness, became eager students of this new way. But the greatest change came from within humanity itself. As people learned to consciously direct their quantum abilities, society began to evolve in unprecedented ways. Cities transformed into living arrays of possibility, where architecture responded to thought and innovation occurred at the speed of imagination. Commander Rodriguez, watching Earth's transformation from orbit, received a transmission from the architect fleet. They were withdrawing not in defeat, but in recognition of a fundamental change in the galaxy's order. Humanity had proven that chaos, properly understood and directed, was not a force of destruction but of creation. The age of order was ending. In its place, a new era was dawning, one where the rigid structures of the past gave way to endless possibilities. The human species, once deemed too unpredictable and chaotic for galactic civilization, had become its greatest teachers. Dr. Chen, standing at her quantum observatory beneath the Antarctic ice, watched as new patterns formed in the fabric of reality. Humanity had not just survived its greatest challenge, it had transcended it. The very qualities the architects had feared, creativity, unpredictability, the embrace of chaos, had become the foundation of a new kind of cosmic civilization. As the architect emissary prepared to depart, it left humanity with a final message. "You have shown us that the future belongs not to those who impose their will upon reality, but to those who learn to dance with it. The galaxy awaits your next impossible achievement." The war that began with a rejection of forced order ended not in victory or defeat, but in transformation. Humanity had proven that true advancement comes not from controlling the universe, but from growing with it. As Earth's quantum field pulsed with the combined creativity of billions of minds, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, illuminating the path to a future limited only by imagination. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, having faced extinction and instead achieved transcendence, stood ready to lead the way into an age of infinite possibility.